The night sky glowed with a soft silver light, and the vast field of tall grass waved in the cool wind. Megan stood near the small landing craft, her hands shaking from the chill, and from what she had seen that day, the alien girl looked almost human. But her eyes shimmered like blue crystal, and her hair moved as if it had life of its own. Megan had met her in the ruins of the old station. Where no one had dared to go for years, the alien had spoken in a strange rhythm, but every word had weight. In truth, she said, her name was Nira, and that she had come from a world far beyond the dark. Edge of the Milky Way, she looked at Megan as if studying something rare, and precious Nira said she wanted to understand. Humans, not through books or signals, but through the feeling of being near one. Megan did not understand at first, but Nira seemed calm and curious. She followed Megan back to the camp and looked at every object as if it was alive. She touched the soil, the machines, the fire, the air, and smiled like a child learning a new color as night fell. They sat near the camp light, and Megan asked what she really wanted. Nira said she had been told that humans were strange creatures, that they could feel both love and fear in the same heartbeat. She said she must see it for herself. Her voice was soft, but there was power behind it. Megan felt something deep in her chest that she could not name. She saw in Nira a reflection of her own loneliness and wonder. The alien eyes held galaxies. Inside them, Nira stepped closer until Megan could feel the warmth from her skin. It was not like human warmth. It was steady and calm like sunlight through glass. She looked into Megan's eyes and said that on her world feelings were controlled and measured. No one could act on emotion without permission from the elders, but here on this strange world she could feel without chains. Megan tried to smile, but her voice shook when she spoke. She told Nira that humans were not always free either. They carried invisible chains made of fear, doubt, and duty. Nira tilted her head as if trying to understand the shape of those words in the distance. The stars shimmered like a sea of white fire. A sound came from the forest, and Nira turned quickly. Her eyes glowing brighter, her instincts were sharper than human, and she could hear what others could not. She whispered that something old lived in the dark. Megan reached for her arm and told her to stay close together. They walked through the whispering grass toward the sound. The air grew heavy as if the night itself was holding its breath. They found an ancient structure. Half buried under vine, symbols were carved along the stone walls, and faint light pulsed from them. Nira moved forward slowly, tracing the symbols with her glowing fingers. She said these were signs of her people long ago, before they left this place. Her voice trembled for the first time since they met, she said. Her kind had been here once and watched humans rise from dust. And now she had returned to see what became of them again. Listened, her heart racing, not from fear but awe. Nira turned and looked at her again, saying softly, "Now I understand why your kind burned so bright and so brief. You live as if every breath is a choice." She stepped closer, and her hand brushed against Megan's cheek for a moment. The air shimmered around them. Nira's eyes softened, and she said she could see memories. She saw Megan as a child staring at the same stars, wondering who watched back. She saw her first loss, her first hope, and her quiet dreams, Nira said. She could feel it all like waves passing through. Her Megan stood still as tears formed in her eyes. Nira wiped them away gently and said that on her world no one cried. She said tears were forbidden because they carried energy the elders feared. But now she wanted to learn what it meant to cry, laugh, and love freely. They stood there in silence while the stars moved slowly overhead. Nira told Megan she must leave before sunrise or her signal would fade. But she promised she would remember this night as long as her kind lived. She asked Megan to show her one last human thing. Before she left, Megan looked at the horizon and thought for a long moment. Then she reached out her hand and pulled Nira close. She said, "This is what humans do when they want to say something their words cannot." Nira hesitated, but then wrapped her arms around. Hearth warmth spread between them, and time seemed to stop. Nira whispered that she could feel what she had been searching for. It was not knowledge or data, but something simple and vast. She said, "This is what it means to be a liveth." First light of dawn touched the field as Nira stepped back. Her form shimmered like dust. In sunlight, Megan wanted to stop her, but she knew it was time. Nira smiled and said she would return someday, and when she did, she hoped humans would still feel The Samoth landing craft rose, slowly lifting into the pale sky. Megan watched until the glow vanished behind the clouds. The field was quiet again, but she could still feel the warmth on her cheek. She looked up at the endless sky and whispered softly, "I must see it for myself." Tuned somewhere far beyond the stars, an alien girl closed her eyes and remembered the first human hug in the cold light of dawn.